What if the way you love is also the way you feel cozy? What if your love language shapes the kind of comfort your nervous system responds to best? And what if hygge, the Scandinavian art of warmth, presence, and emotional rest, can help you feel safer, calmer, and more connected this season? Join us today as we talk about how you can build a cozy shelter in the midst of a chaotic holiday season using words of affirmation. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD, and I am super excited to extend a special welcome to our brand new series, Cozy in the Chaos. We are going to be working with the Scandinavian practice of hygge, which is a Danish word, hygge is, and it means to create a sense of warmth, safety, comfort, connection, relationships, grounding, peace, all that stuff kind of rolled into one. We're going to marry that with the 5 love languages. And we're going to dig into each language one a week and talk about how you can create customized practices that will bring that sense of warmth, that sense of safety and comfort in the midst of all the chaos of the holiday season, and how you can personalize it for you and for those that you love. I'm super excited about bringing you this series. And I wanted to let you know that this is a result of feedback from you, my listeners. Isn't that exciting? So I just want you to know that I hear you guys, and I take all that information in and I put that into creating episodes in the future. So a friend of mine came to me and who is also a listener, and she said, Lori, I notice every time you talk about hygge, you're always talking about what you feel. It's very tactile. So a soft, cozy blanket, a snuggly pillow, a weighted blanket, things that I'm feeling, heat, warmth. When she thinks of hygge, she often thinks about connection and spending time with people. So we started talking about this and bouncing it back and forth and realized that we're talking love languages, because my love language is physical touch, thus the tactile part that brings me such comfort, where hers is quality time. And so for her, it's connection and spending quality time with people, which then birthed this whole series of being able to dive into the love languages and how you can marry that with hygge to create a practice for yourself that is personalized and customized and can bring you that warmth and safety and comfort in the midst of a season that is so chaotic. And when we're struggling with seasonal depression, a time when loneliness can spike and be harder to deal with. And you can create this little corner of cozy in the midst of all that chaos that can just soothe the soul and help you to feel grounded and feel like you belong, maybe feel like you're being held for just a minute. So that's the goal, and we're going all in on this. So I'm going to have one episode a week that deals with one love language. Today we're going to talk about words of affirmation, and we're also going to be posting on Facebook, so you can look us up there. If you're not already a member of our Facebook community, come over and join us. We have lots of fun over there. So it's Overcome Depression and Anxiety Using Positive Psychology to Combat PTSD. Look that up. You can join, be happy to have you. You can learn a little bit more about hygge. We're also going to be talking about this in our weekly newsletter. You can join that newsletter if you haven't already. Go to Practical Solutions for PTSD Insider.grwebsite.com. All I need is your name and email address, and we'll get you hooked up, and you'll be able to get some additional tips on Christmas, etc., for the specific love language in hygge. So we're going all in, and we're going to have loads of fun. Super excited. And so I hope this creates just a little corner of peace and calm for you as you're going through the holiday season. So let's get started on this whole words of affirmation thing. So if you're one of these people, and you're wondering, what is my love language? This would be a way to try to figure out if words of affirmation happens to be yours. So you can ask yourself if you're someone who feels deeply encouraged by gentle words, by scripture, some loving reminders, thoughtful notes, If words just really impact you, both good and bad. So if someone says something harsh to you or critical and it just really hits you deeply and lingers for a long time, that's a good way to know that words of affirmation is your love language. Obviously, we're talking about the reverse of that, where those words can just feed the soul and create a place for you just to take a breath and know that you're safe. This is the love language of words of affirmation. And even if this isn't your love language, maybe it is for someone you love, or there's other practices we're going to talk about today that anyone can use. It's just a matter of how deeply it impacts you, whether or not, if it's your love language or not. So take a breath, light a candle, very hygge here, and let's begin. Words of affirmation is more than just a compliment. It's a place where safety is actually felt through words. So when you hear gentle, kind, truth-centered words, your body will respond. So your heart rate begins to soften, your shoulders drop, your brain shifts from threat to trust. Your nervous system begins to release tiny waves of calm, letting you know that you can be safe in this moment. So you can do this for yourself. Other people can do it for you as well. But this is something where your body is telling you it's safe to breathe here. This is a safe space. So when you're pairing that with hygge, it is super powerful because hygge gives your body sensory warmth. So, what you're feeling, you're touching, you're hearing, etc. It's giving your body sensory warmth, where words give your heart emotional warmth. So you combine the two and it can create a place of peace, of calm, of joy, grounding, safety, etc. What does hygge look like for this love language? Hygge for words of affirmation is quiet, gentle, and atmospheric. So imagine this. Just paint a word picture in your mind. So you have a candle flickering on a nightstand. Maybe you look over and on your pillow is a handwritten note. Maybe you wrote it yourself to remind yourself at night before you crawl into bed about something that is safe or encouraging. Maybe it's from a family member. You have warm light going instead of bright light. So it's warm ambient light in the evenings that kind of gives you that cozy, snuggling kind of feeling. There's a few meaningful words placed where your eyes are going to naturally land. If it's not on the nightstand, maybe it's on your dresser or it's on the bathroom mirror or somewhere that you know you're going to be reaching and touching before you settle down for the night. Maybe you have a devotional open to a comforting verse. So it could be something that you read a couple days ago that just really impacted you, or a verse that you read in scripture that it just really stood out to you and just felt like a hug. And so you write it down on a piece of paper and put it next to your bed, or you put it on the bathroom mirror or on the refrigerator door. Maybe it's whispered prayers. So just these conversations that you can have with God that are not so structured, but just a time where you're just open and honest and just talking conversationally. Maybe it's a reminder to yourself, you're doing your best. You're enough. You did well today. You earned this time to rest. You need this time, and it's a time of healing and comfort for you. So for someone who speaks this love language, words of affirmation, hygge isn't created with decor. It's created with words that feel like home. Now, you may have some decor related to that. You have that candle going, the soft ambient light. But what's really going to speak deeply to that person are the words. That's what's going to make them feel safe, feel comforted, feel like they have a place that is home and cozy. So there's 5 cozy practices you can start today for those of you that have words of affirmation. Some of these, anybody can implement them, but this is something that's going to speak more deeply to those of you who have words of affirmation. So create an affirmation nook. So choose one spot. This could be just a tiny place on your bed that's comfortable, or it could be a little corner or recliner, whatever. Just choose one spot and place a warm lighting next to it. This could be a candle. It could be a soft light with a lamp with ambient light. A journal or a sticky note with phrases that you can write in it, like peace lives here, I'm safe, I'm held by God, I don't have to rush my healing. You could even have some affirmation cards sitting there, and you can pull one out each evening or whenever you're going to do your hygge practice. So when your brain sees these words, it receives a microdose of calm. It's just these tiny little things that are making you feel safe and can help you just provide this little time that you can unwind during the holiday season. Step number 2 is to speak gently to yourself. It is so easy to be hard on ourselves, but remember not to speak to yourself any more harshly than you would your best friend. So during your evening hygge time, say one kind sentence to yourself out loud. And one reason why I encourage you to say it out loud is because your brain hears it. And I know this sounds silly because you're thinking it. You're like, well, I'm thinking it already. Why do I have to say it? But it can actually, when your brain hears it, it reinforces it. It can also help trigger things with the vagus nerve, and there's other science going on. So if you can, I encourage you to say it out loud. It's not a requirement, but I do encourage you to do that. So you can say things like, I did enough today. And this is hard to accept for those of us that have a long to-do list, or maybe healing just decide to take a priority that day and you feel like you did not do enough. But remind yourself, I did enough. I deserve to rest. I am healing. God is with me in the quiet. I don't have to go all the time. I can take just 5 minutes to be quiet and God is here with me. So hearing your own voice speak comfort creates a nervous system safety that, as I was referring to earlier, it triggers the brain, it triggers the nervous system, and will help you calm down just a little bit. Step number 3, write one encouraging line a day. And this is for those of you, if you don't like to journal or journaling is just too much, even if it's one line, it's okay if you don't do this. But if words are important for you, this could be very helpful. So you can just do a tiny notebook. It doesn't have to be anything major because it's just going to be a one-liner. So it could be one of those little, 3-inch by 2-inch notebooks that you just keep beside your bed or in your hygge spot. So just keep that little notebook, index card, sticky notes, whatever it is. And each night you can write down one thing I did well today. Just one thing. That's it. Just write one thing that you did well today. And this is not toxic positivity where you're trying to ignore the negative emotions or try to look through rose-colored glasses. Nothing like that. It's emotional grounding. It's helping you to know that even in an upside-down, crazy, busy, chaotic world, however nutso your day was today, there's one thing I did well today. And you're going to celebrate that. So write down that one thing that you did well today. Step number 4 is to incorporate scripture in hygge. So read a gentle verse and do it in low lighting. You want to try to keep the low lighting because it's more comforting and grounding. You don't want the bright daylight lights. You want the calmer lights. You do want to be able to read, though. So also train your eyes. But you can do a gentle verse like Psalms 23. Maybe read just one verse of it or read the entire psalm. Isaiah 41:10 is another good one. Matthew 11:28. Psalms 46:10. There's loads of verses out there that you can sit down and read that are just calming to you, encouraging. Those promises that God has given you, even if it's 10 years ago, it can still be comforting and meaningful. So reminding yourself of that, reading over that again. It can be a soft comfort blanket to your heart just to read over those promises that God has given you. I know they are for me, a huge encouragement. I really encourage you to do that. And number 5 is start an encouragement jar. Now, I've done this before in the past, and it can be really meaningful because you forget. Life is crazy, and we forget those good moments. So write a note to your future self on days that you're just really discouraged. And write down just tiny reminders to yourself that, hey, you are enough, or you did this really well, or this is a way that God came through and answered prayer, or this is a promise that God gave me, or this is a really beautiful moment and I don't want to forget it. So just little tiny things that you can write down, put them in a jar, and on those days that you're feeling really discouraged, pull them out and remind yourself. So this is a little bit of hygge for your inner child or your nervous system, your spirit that can encourage you, lift you up when you're feeling discouraged. So here's a ritual, putting it all together. So here's a ritual that you can establish for yourself if you have words of affirmation as your love language. So dim your light, sit with a blanket, love blankets. Sit with a blanket, place your hand over your heart, read or speak one sentence that feels like truth. You don't want to lie to yourself, but you don't want to be too harsh on yourself either. So speak one sentence that feels like truth and breathe slowly. When you do this, you're signaling your entire body that it's okay and you're safe right now. And it's something that can just give you a little bit of peace and calm in the midst of a chaotic Christmas. So a Christmas version. The holiday seasons can stir up so much anxiety. There's so much stress. Go, 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 go. Can also make you, can highlight and emphasize your loneliness or even your guilt. Definitely comparison, especially if you're on social media. Get a little crazy there. So here's how to use love language to create a gentle Christmas comfort. Keep a verse card on your tree. Maybe it's a promise that God gave you at the beginning of the year and you don't want to forget it. So you're going to write it down and put it on your tree. Maybe it's a quote, one of your favorite quotes, the quote that you started the year off with, or something that is just super meaningful to you. Write it down and put it on your Christmas tree. Write yourself a Christmas blessing. Stick it in your Christmas stocking and pull it out later to remind yourself. This is one of my favorites, is to use soft twinkle lights to create a warm affirmation corner. I absolutely love soft twinkle lights. It is something I use a lot to combat depression and to give warmth to my home. Amazing recommendation. You could also start a 12 days of peace encouragement note countdown. So, like you have the 24 days of Christmas and you're pulling out different kinds of chocolate or different kinds of coffee or tea or whatever. There's a bazillion of them out there. You can do 12 days of peace. And so just write down something that brings you peace and encouragement that helps bring calmness, whatever that is, just a 12 days of peace routine. And if 12 days is too much, because that can be a lot if you're struggling with depression, do 6 days or 3 or 4, whatever. You can just do a few. If it's 12 is too much, start smaller. And then I mentioned this with your Christmas blessing. You can also place a comforting phrase in your stocking to read Christmas morning. So maybe it's something that just a reminder to take a breath and enjoy the moment. Because at least for me, I'm always projecting into the future. So sometimes it's hard for me to take a breath and just enjoy living in the now. So maybe that's all it is just enjoy this beautiful moment that you have with those that you love. So Christmas hygge is about small, warm reminders that you're loved, you can have peace and comfort, being held in that moment. You're not alone. So if words of affirmation is your love language, or even if it's not, I hope this episode helped you to find some doable ways to create peace inside your home and inside your heart using words of affirmation. Our next episode, next week, we're going to be exploring acts of service and how service becomes a warm, grounding form of hygge. So until then, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And this episode's coming out on Thanksgiving. So if you listen to it on Thanksgiving Day, happy Thanksgiving. Stay warm, stay grounded, and I will see you back here next time. Quick reminder that you can learn more about hygge and the love languages on our Facebook community as well as the newsletter. So make sure to join. The links are in the comments below, and I hope to see you there. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.